Okay. Christy Bourgeois started her business in 2015 and has grown it into a thriving company with 7 employees and over 200 directors and consultants, a reflection of her leadership, work ethic, and heart for people. Her passion is personal connection through customer engagement, helping others build meaningful relationships and strong businesses. Originally from Virginia Beach, Christy holds a BA in Mass Communications from FAU and has lived around the world before settling in Louisiana with her Cajun husband and their 4 kids. She loves traveling. Italy and Dubai are favorites, competitive ballroom dancing, and empowering women in business, all fueled by her faith and commitment to helping others grow both personally and professionally. So please help me welcome Christy Bourgeois.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love that. I appreciate that. And I'm glad to be back. And it's good to see your faces. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And
Great.
I just sent you a co-host link in case you need to do any screen shares.
Perfect. Let's see. I'm looking for that now. Um, Host tools, I'll find that out. Okay. Thank you so much. But I'm glad to be back and I'm glad to be talking about what we really want to learn about tonight. And that is all about Google Docs. So I'm excited to bring that to you tonight. Thank you for having me again. And I want to jump in a little bit. I also want to talk about how my trainings work as far as baby steps go. So I'm all about baby steps when it comes to learning these things. I don't want to overwhelm. I don't want to give too much information that doesn't, pertain to what we're doing. And I just want you to feel like that's something by the time you leave the training, it's something you can easily do with the training that you gotten on video and then with the notes I send after. So after this, I'm going to send Laura the notes and she can share those with you. Yeah, because I am going to leave a little bit of detail out when I'm talking about basically how to set up these Google Docs. So I just want you to know that. And we're going to jump in. If you have a question, feel free to throw a hand up or just interrupt me actually, because you know how I start to ramble on. So we'll get started and then we'll go from there. Okay. I want to mention one thing because I heard a couple of terms being used lately, and I think that when you go back to the basics of everything, it's even confusing what the words are meaning. So when we say Google Doc, we've also heard Google Drive, we've heard Google Form, Google Slides, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, all this Google, what do I do with it, right? Two things I'm going to talk about tonight. One, of course, being Google Docs, but Google Docs are great for a certain thing, and Google Forms are great for a certain thing. When we're talking about, and I'm going to verify this with you, Laura, but I think what we're talking about is creating a Google form for when you're having your parties or you're, gathering information from other people so that you can keep that in one place and see all the responses. Is that what we're talking about? Okay, perfect. Okay, so on that note, it's just as simple to create a Google form as it is a Google Doc. So just a really quick explanation of the differences there. A Google form you're going to use for things like forms you're wanting to send to other people to gather information from, right? So if you're having any kind of entry, drawing, party, anything like that, sign up, registration, things like that, you're going to want to use a Google form, okay? A Google Doc is more for storing your information all in one place. And we're going to go back to the basics of even just looking at and seeing how those are included in your Google Drive and what that is. Okay. A Google Doc is more for keeping your scripts and your just any kind of information you want to include with text and pictures and anything like that that you want to include and keep in one place so you can find it later. It's almost like a digital filing cabinet. That's a great way to look at Google. One other thing I want to mention is that you do not have to have a Gmail address to have your Google Forms and Docs, right? I will say from personal experience and all the directors and consultants we work with, it is great to have a Google account if you can. Now, if you've had a Yahoo address for years and years, or you've had, any kind of other address, we've had, gosh, there's been so many of them. It is good at this point to have a Google address. just because it makes making these things, creating these docs and forms easier. And I'll show you that when I get on the screen to kind of screen share and make it more visual, because that's what works for me, right? So we're going to talk about Google Drive, Google Forms, how to do those. This is going to be great for staying organized. So even though you might have, and I get it, I'm an old school paper person. I'm a list taker. I like my lists. I like my papers, right? But I've figured out at this point to keep all of my things together, all online. It's great to have that Google Drive. Also, Google is good for being anywhere in the world, and you can pull that up if you have the internet. That's really good to have too. So if you have a phone, an iPad, a desktop computer, if you're at someone else's place and you're visiting, or you're at a hotel, you can pull up your Google information anywhere you are in the world. So that's just a great way to explain how Google works. It's like a digital file cabinet to me. We're going to stay organized. It saves time. One really good thing I like about it is that we're not reinventing the wheel every day. We're not trying to find things that we took the other day, trying to find our notes, trying to find where this response was written down, things like that. So we're going to jump into that and show you how to simplify so that you can move forward in your business and just be more organized, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, so we're going to jump in. Let me see if I am able to share my screen. I know that you said you shared that with me. Let's see. Can I share? I believe I can. Yes, I can. Okay, perfect. Let's make sure you guys can all see this when I go in. Let me know if you can see that. Let's see. Okay, can everyone see the screen there?
Yes.
Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to start with literally just being on a internet browser where this is what you come to. This is what you see when you open it up, right? Now, if you have Google Chrome, long story, but usually at any browser, if you're wanting to create a Google form, you're going to be able to just type in something. There are 3 ways to find what you're looking for. If you've got your Google account with your Gmail and things like that, and you see your little picture in the right-hand corner, one way you can bring up a new Google form is this little button right here that says Google Apps. Okay. And we're going to go right into the Drive. A couple ways to find it. My easiest way, I like to go to Drive because all of my stuff is in one place. When we're beginning, it's kind of easy to find what you're looking for here. So if you're looking for forms, sheets, slides, docs, see how there's a lot of options and you don't have to worry about all of that. It gets a little overwhelming. So you're always able to open it there. Okay. One other way to do it though is just in your browser, forms.new. And this is in the notes that you're going to get tonight. You're going to be able to just pull this up here and it's going to take you through what you need to get started. So you're going to be able to just, and it pulls you right into a new form right here. So keep in mind, in your Google form, this is just you right now. Nobody else is going to see this until you end up hitting that button called publish. So it's really not, it's really easy to navigate, revise, change things. Oh, I don't like this one. I'm going to start a new one. Really simple to just play around in here. And you don't have to worry about it going out to the public until we publish or share with someone. And we're going to talk about that too. Okay. All right. So the first thing you're going to want to do when you're creating a Google form is name it, because this is the worst thing when you go into your digital file cabinet and you have a bunch of things called untitled form. So frustrating, right? We want to just make sure we name it. So I'm going to name it, let's see, this is our training form. Just so that we know what it's called, and when we go look for it, that's what's going to show when you're looking for your form. And I'm going to show you afterwards how we're going to find it later when you've created it. Okay. This is what people are going to see when you send this form out. Okay, there's a place for questions right here that we're in right now that they're going to see. And then there's going to be a place for responses that you'll be able to see later. Okay, so in this form, we are able to do, it's kind of a blank slate. We're able to do whatever we want and set it up however we'd like to. And I'm going to show you a couple of different options there. Okay. Form description. This can kind of just let people know what they're there for. Are they in the right place? Like, you are signing up for this. Please fill out the information below. Let's see. Please fill out the information below to enter to win. Okay. Let's just say that is our description for this. You're also able, if you want to change some of the look of this. All kinds of ways to kind of make it your own. There's even a customized theme up here. We can change everything to pink, which is always fun. Little things you can change here and there, but as of now, we're just going to create a simple form so we can see how it goes. Okay. The first thing we're going to have is this untitled question. This is kind of Google's way of just saying, hey, you can put something here, whatever you'd like, and we're going to customize it how you'd like. So there's a couple of different things here we can do. With our first question, when you click on that, it's just going to tell you, it kind of carries you through this process. So it's going to say, okay, what do you want that question to be? And I like to start with something, like I said, very basic. And I like to keep different columns for different things. And I'll show you what I mean by that. But just simple things that people see when they first go to a form. So for example, when you go to fill out a form online, usually it's going to ask for your pretty basic information at first, right? We want to gather information about you. So let's say this would be, you can either do name, something very simple like that, and they have a place to enter their name. This is where we're going to decide how the answers look to us, and we'll get there in a second, okay? Name is very simple. They know what to do. What I like to do with Google Forms is just make sure everything has been filled out, okay? So we've got the name there, right? The next thing we have is, do we want to add an inline image? Not right now. We just want to keep it very simple. But in the future, here's where you can add an image to show them what you're looking for, or you can add a picture of the form or the picture of what they're going to win, anything like that. You can add in here. We're going to leave it blank for now, okay? This is the next part I'd go over to and say, okay, what kind of answer do I want them to have? Like, what kind of choices do I want? So for a name, you'd want to keep it as short answer, right? This is the type of answer they're able to give, okay? But if you click down, Google's going to say, okay, these are all the choices you have for answers that you can take in, okay? So if we're asking them for some sort of description, some sort of opinion, leave your feedback, your thoughts, we might go with paragraph. And if you clicked on that, it would just show you how that looks to them, okay? Click again just to see different options. We have multiple choice, check boxes, and a drop down, things like that. So multiple choice, for example, and Google's going to say, okay, well, what do you want to say here? And you're going to be able to give those choices here, keep clicking, and Google will show you, you can add options, right? Again, Google's super easy with kind of editing things and making changes to whatever you're doing in your blank slate here. So you can go back now and say, no, I think I want to drop down. And it's going to say, okay, here's your drop down menu. There's a checklist check box option where they can check boxes. But for the name, we're going to leave it with short answer. Does that make sense so far? Okay. Does anyone have a question? I'm rambling, so throw out that question if you have it. Let me know.
Nope, you're doing great. Keep going.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so this is our first question. We got short answer. That's where they answer. Couple things down here. Do we want to duplicate that question? We might come back to that because we might want to just make the same kind of thing for, phone number or address, something like that, okay? Do we want to trash this because we don't like how it looks? No, we want to keep that. That's our first question. We're going to keep it. This one right here, required. Do we want to make it mandatory for them to answer this question to move to the next thing? I love to check this on everything that is really required for this form or everything we really want to have when we look at the responses. We don't want them to have the choice to give their name because then we really won't know who entered, right? So we're going to click on that to press required. That lets them know that, they have to answer this question to get to the next one, okay? There are more options here. Again, this is kind of later on. We don't need to deal with this right now. So we're going to leave that blank for now. Okay. So you've already set up your first question. You've already set it up to where, it's not going out to the public yet, but it's ready to go. So my next option would be to duplicate that question. Anywhere where we can duplicate something and make changes, that makes our life easier. Oh my goodness. In Google especially. There's always a duplicate option. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate the question, right? Because now maybe we want to add phone number or email. What if we want phone number and email? Okay, we still have the short answer text. So guess what? That's all the same for phone number. It's required, short answer text. We don't need a picture. Let's duplicate it again because we can just add email. Okay, and just like that, we've got 3 questions, short answer text. Let's say we just want that for an enter to win. Okay, I'm going to, decide now how we're going to move forward with this. So there's a couple things that we have options for. We can publish it. So when you publish, it just means that it is a live Google form. That just means, so for example, when I create forms for Janice Trude, okay, she's got a lot of different events we do Google Forms for. Sometimes she says, okay, Christy, this event is closed. It is sold out. We need to take it off. It's, nobody needs to respond at this point. We don't want them to be able to, and we just unpublish it. Okay, so that means anyone with the link right now can look at it. If it's unpublished, they can't. So for now, we'll just dismiss because we're not going to publish. No one's actually looking at it quite yet. Okay, that's your way though to make it kind of a live form, if that makes sense. Okay. There's another way to do this, to share with people. So you have the option of sharing this with individual people. Okay, it's making us publish before. See, I love Google. Okay, we can't publish until we actually, we can't, do that until we publish. So let's go ahead and publish for now. We're just going to click publish so that I can show you what happens with a form like this in the next part. Okay. We are able to share it with multiple people at once, or we can share it with people individually. So when you're looking up here, you're like, what did she say again? How do I share this? Right here, we're going to find that button, copy responder link. Okay. This link is what you can use to copy and paste and send everywhere you'd like to. So if you have a text group, if you have an email you use for people, if you want to send it out however you'd like, e-card it out, however that works, you can copy this link right here and share it wherever. So I would just press copy, and I would have that link now is waiting for you with Google. So for example, if I went to a new button and I just right clicked, that is ready to copy and paste. So all of a sudden it's there. And look, if we clicked on that to see what comes up, that's our form. That's what people see when they go to that link. Okay. Let's go back to our form real quick. There's another way. If you'd like to, you can send this form, or you can actually share it directly from here with individual people. Okay. So, okay, we're on this later. We're figuring out these forms. What did Christy say? Where do I go to share? And you hover over these options and Google will help you out with that. Okay. Oh, look, we can share right here. And it'll say, okay, who do you want to share this with? We can absolutely add email addresses here. We can add groups of people here. It's just a place where you can individually add people if you'd like to. So in general, the easiest way is probably to copy this link, maybe even save this in your notes. which, you know what, we just talked about Google Docs. That's going to come in later. Saving all your links in one Google Doc is a great way to go, and I'll show you how to do that. But that's the way right there to share with different people. Okay. We're still in our Google form right here. We have not seen if anybody has responded yet. Okay. We need to, and okay, this is my preference on what I like to do to see responses. And everybody's different, and I'll explain that in a second. But responses. So we have our questions, right? This is our form. Responses. If we click on this, Google's going to say, okay, you don't have any responses yet. When you do have a response, it's going to come up here. Okay. This next part depends on what kind of preference you have on how you see your responses. You are going to need to come here to see your responses, and you are able to click on this, and it tells you right here, sends responses to a spreadsheet. If you're a person that likes to look at everything on a spreadsheet, and we can go into that on a different training, Laura, that might be a good thing to look at some point too. But sheets right here, this will just show you all of your responses at once. Or when you get a response, they will be listed right here just in a different way. So it's literally just preference on how you want to do that. Okay. And it's always going to be in your Google Drive now. So once you, let's not overwhelm you, but look a little bit further into this. If we clicked on that, we can create a new spreadsheet. This is your responses from your Google Sheet, and it goes straight into your Google Drive. So whenever you open your Google Drive, which I might show you if you guys have a question about that later, you're going to see your form and you're going to see your responses, and you can click on either one at any time. Okay, I'm going to create that just so that we have it to see in our Google Drive in a few minutes. Okay. When you create that form, it's just, see, we can list everything on one sheet. We have it to look at any time we'd like to. Okay. I'm going to get out of here for a second and just show you something. If we went back to Google and we're like, okay, where do I find these things? It is in the notes as well, by the way. So don't feel overwhelmed by that, right? But it's going to be in your Google Drive anytime you want to look at things. So remember this button right here where we find everything Google? We can click on this at any time, just in your regular browser, and you're going to click on your drive. And when you start creating these things, check out what happens. And it's probably going to list everything I have. Oh my goodness. Okay, there's a lot of things in here. Pay no attention to the craziness in my drive. But in yours, it will just have the training form right here at the top. There's your form. And here's your responses. So at any time you can say, oh, let me look at the form today and see, I wanted to change something on that. You click on your form and it pulls right up for you, and you can change anything you'd like to. Okay. I am going to get out of here for a second and see if we have any questions. I love to see people when we're doing this. See if we have any questions. So I've been rambling. Let me know what the questions are so far.
Christy, thank you for that. It's just really informative, and it helps me to understand more how Google Forms works. And so I don't really have any questions. It seems like it's pretty straightforward. And once one is created, you can go in and do what you need to, but you do have to go into your Google Drive to see the responses.
Right. Yeah. And that's why it is so my first priority would be to just have that Google account. There are ways around it. You can have your Hotmail, but it's just easier when you have a Google account. You go right up to that Google little menu and everything's there for you. So yeah, exactly. Yep.
So most of getting the Google form to work for you is just going in there and playing with it a little bit. But it seems like it's more simple to do than I was making it in my head.
Yeah,
so and if you want to do like a profile card, you could, I know y'all have created things and then shared ownership with me. And so
right.
if we create something, if someone in our unit creates it, could you show us how to share a form with somebody so that they can, and when you share a form and they accept ownership, does that take it out of your drive, or do you still have that in yours too?
Okay. So you'll still have that in your drive. When you transfer ownership, you're still able as an editor to go in and help out, edit if you need to. as the owner, they can remove you from that at that point. But until then, you've still got access to everything that you need. Yeah.
Is there a way we can create a Google form that we share with each other that people can use and edit and make it their own without doing the ownership thing? Is there a way to do that?
That's a
So
great question.
if one of us creates a profile card and we want everybody to be able to have ownership of that, is there a way to do that?
Yeah. Yes, there would be a little bit of kind of training involved with the people that are involved in that because they would need to take that link and go in and make a copy of that to use as their own. So unless you're all sharing the same responses, which I don't think that's what we're wanting to do, you're wanting to create a duplicate. Like we talked about, it's so easy to create duplicates in Google and you just make it your own. So it's going to be not so much a blank template that they're having to start with. It's got everything there. It's just kind of customizing to them and then making their own responder sheet and link. Does that help?
They can copy it.
They can copy it, right?
But then they have to set up their own link for their own thing.
Right. They would have to do that. You can copy it for them and make them an owner of theirs. That's an option as well. But in order to, make it their own, they're just going to have to make that a copy.
Yeah. Can you rename it?
Yes, you can rename it. Yes. Yeah. As soon as you get a copy of a sheet, or if you've made a copy, anything like that, as the owner or editor, however they've shared it with you, and that comes to the permissions part too. When you share with someone, you've got to just make sure you make them an editor or an owner or just a viewer. There are different permissions that you can give. Yeah. And that's in the notes too, by the way. And like I said, I didn't want to show the notes on this because there's a lot of detail in there. Just for when you come up with something, you're like, oh, I didn't ask this. All of that is in the notes as well. So, yeah.
Well, this was so helpful, Christy. Thank you so much. Does anyone have questions? I mean, it was pretty straightforward. I got a lot of information, and this helps me to understand how this process works.
Yeah, and that's what I love about these trainings. I don't like to get into too much detail. There's so much more you can do as you get into it. But the first step is just to create a simple one, play around with it. No one's going to see it. You got to remember that too. Unless you share that, no one's seeing it. So you play around, mess it up, start a new one. So that's the best way to go as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here so much, for coming back and doing your thing. And that was my alarm to stop recording and wrap up our meeting so we can get to our live that we've got today. But I'm gonna put it on gallery view so that we can all be on screen. And would y'all just clap her out and thank her before I stop recording tonight? Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me again, and I will talk to you soon. And I'll send you the notes. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, we need those notes.
Okay, send them soon.
All right. Thank you.